into the arena, into the battlefield of a man 5 feet 2 inches in his height, out of shape, soft and flabby, no appearance, no personality. What does the world appear like to such a man? It's a world of society, the world of reward and punishment, the world that defines you're in, you're out, you win, you lose, figuratively and literally. If you're a short man who appears diminutive in size, if you do not have a lot of street smart game to back yourself up, you're going to take a walk down the street of broken dreams with no confidence, no real effective power to get things done, to be given credit and respect. To survive. Everybody, without exception, puts the short, small man in pillory, figuratively and literally. Everybody's looking for a patsy, a fall guy, a target, and a short, small man, I'm sorry to say, with no appearance and no personality and no street smart wisdom, no courage. He's short, he's flabby, and he makes a ridiculous appearance. He has nothing to back. He's invisible. He's truly an invisible man out there. His personality counts for nothing, if he even has any, because he has no appearance. Everybody looks upon him as a troll, a dwarf, or a gnome. These are the cards he was dealt, genetically. If he's soft and flabby, and of course his proportions are out of balance or out of whack, so aesthetically he's horrible to look at, and he is visually an eyesore, then he's going to have to live his life vicarious pretense and get most of his needs met, such as they are, other than the brute need of food and a place to bed down. He's going to be an outsider, a pariah by design. He's going to have to live a life of vicarious pretense, fantasy, wishful thinking, and keep on escaping into laments. He's going to have to project away whatever little power he has, because the power that he has is totally ineffective, because he has nothing to back it up. So he sets himself up hero figures. He he endows them with fantastic powers. He escapes into masturbation fantasies to where he's all powerful. He's all potent. He's a god. He's in complete control of the Shangri-La of his fantasies. What does it feel like to walk in the streets of Manhattan and everybody's taller than you almost? You go on a dance floor in a quote-unquote nightclub or whatever you want to call it, and you're the tiny man on the floor. The women's be taller than you. Everybody's looking down, little man. And ultimately, little man ends up dancing by himself because no woman wants to dance with him. And I don't blame her, because he's an eyesore. Makes her look bad. He's so short and diminutive. And particularly if he's fat. He's got a big old moon face. Big old belly. He looks grotesque in his clothes. And if he's foolish enough to try to Mighty Mouse it, he's in a world of hurt. If he's foolishly aggressive, then he becomes Punchinello the clown and end up village idiot, and everybody laughing behind his back, mocking, caricaturing, stereotyping, just having a good old time at the little man's expense. That's the pillory I was talking about. And blame everything on the little man, because he's a perfect repository for everybody's aggressiveness. Everybody being the other social performers. And all he can do to make it stop is run and hide. Run and hide, little man. Run and hide. And when he talks, nobody takes him serious. He's in a self-generating and regenerating problem. He an ugly little man. They call him the Cecil. The frog. The troll, the dwarf, or the gnome. How does he even the score? How does he break free of all this? You gotta start him when he's young. You gotta instill the discipline and the will into him when he's young. You can tell when he's a child. That's why the most important question you could ask a child, at 12 years old, a little boy we're talking about in this context. Do you date? Do you masturbate? Have you ever felt bad about your size? How do you know? Have you ever compared? And the size is both his physical size and also his sexual size. And many of these short little guys are suffering from microphallus, which only compounds the problem even more. In the answer to that question, and the behavior responses to that question, will predicate what you're dealing with. If you know genetically the boy is going to be short and small. You can see it genetically, the proportions, the bone structure, the height at that age. You better act quickly. He's got to get into the shape. That comes first. I call it an existential boot camp, where the child is trained to get into the shape of his life, so he has a good foundation to work with. You got to work on his mind entirely to desensitize. You want to put a lot of hard bark on the child's mind, the boy's mind. Catch him when he's young. His will. And he has to be made to learn. He is, in point of fact, because he was shortchanged genetically, vertically challenged, physically challenged, that he is, in point of fact, a rock at an island. And he must be self-sufficient, self-reliant above all. And he must develop systematically, methodically, an inner fortitude. He has to be very street smart. He has to condition into himself courageousness. He has to be highly skilled at assertiveness, effective street smart assertiveness. He has to learn and have it cauterized into him how to instantly, this has to be innovated, read a social situation and position himself advantageously, so he is not Bunjanello the clown, so they do not overtly and covertly, figuratively and literally put him in pillory and mock him and taunt him, ridicule, caricature, stereotype, and laugh behind his back. And then, if he's street stupid, they'll puff him up and enjoy every moment of torturing the little man. You can do it, little man. They'll admonish the hell out of him. You can do it, little man. You can do it. Believe you can. Yes, you can, little man. Bullshit. Because what I'm saying goes 10 times for the short, small man. You don't have a friend out there, my friend. My fellow short, small, ugly man. You don't have a friend out there. Unless you're a friend to yourself to begin with. It begins with you. It begins with you getting into the shape of your life. Physically, mentally. He has to be very aware, a very good observer of what's going on around him, and he has to develop his memory, his ability to very astutely observe, listening to himself, his own behaviors, knowing and understanding like a martial artist, critical distance, knowing how to position himself, knowing exactly what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and when to end it. He has to understand completely critical distance. He has to understand and accept and not be intimidated by the fact that he is at terrible disadvantage. And with it all, the biggest mistake a short, small man makes, if he's not specially trained like I'm talking about, he's looking for the compassion. He's looking for the humanitarianism. He's looking for a hush, a hand. He's looking for a positive word. He's looking for encouragement. And all of that is a fabrication. I've never seen one instance where that wasn't so. This is a very, very serious talk I'm providing. There's no comedy here. There's no relief from the agony of your situation unless the short, small man is trained, and I mean severely and seriously trained, to take the matter into his own hands and resolve the issue. You have to catch him when he's young. And you have to inculcate it and cauterize it into his being so it becomes a way of life, a philosophy, a habit. It's innovated, it's natural, it's a reflex. The biggest thing the short, small man has to overcome is the innate fear of the bigger man, because he says, physically, I'm so small. This is what he's saying to himself. And the bigger man smells it on him by his humility, by his posture, by his voice print, by what he says, and and thank you. Oh, the little man gives a lot of thanks just for existing. He's thankful that he's allowed to exist and breathe air. And he only has himself to blame because he didn't realize he has to get himself in the shape of his life mentally. It all begins with that. Short, small man, you should be so powerful and well-bound. No one should be able to take your balance away physically or mentally. He has to be that quick, that alert. He has to be trained, well-trained in street fighting techniques that projects the aura that if you try to put me in pillory or intimidate me, I will be memorable. He has to throw the intimidation and fear right back to the big man. He does that by an aura. But if he walks around like a village idiot, like Punchinello, and he's smart, try to be really a nice guy, and he wants, I'm okay, you're okay, come on, leave me alone, let me live. If you let me live, if you just let me live and don't insult me and don't caricature me, don't try to intimidate me, oh, I'll be the happiest man in the world. I'll go back to my hole in the ground and dig myself a corner and dig myself a place. It's as serious as that. There's nowhere the short little man goes that he's not reminded of his disadvantage every single day. He's like a magnet, a maggot. He's seen as a maggot. Women see him as a maggot, as an ugly troll, a foreign body. That's the visceral, repulsive response he gets from most women. A couple will take a little compassion on him, sympathy, and that's even worse. He's got to develop an aura, a hard-barked aura that says, step wide of me, or you will. What you do or say to me by intimidation, by disrespect, by insult will come right back at you, threefold, tenfold. He's got to have an aura that projects menace. He's got to dress to win. That means he has to wear clothes. He's got to be in shape. There's no way. You can't hide fat, particularly if you are short. See, your big man can hide his big fat belly. He'll carry it a lot better than a little shorty. But the little shorty has to shake off the intimidation, the ridicule, the mockery, the insults. So that the whole purpose is to get that little short. Even if he has nothing material to back himself up, he's sleeping and living on a park bench in Central Park in the wintertime, eating the City Rescue Mission, New York, in the wintertime, dead of winter. But he has an aura. And with nothing at all, he shows to that big man, you better respect me. You better respect me. And he's got nothing in his pockets. He's got football pockets. He's got empty pockets. But his aura of menace and power has a magnetism and a dynamism that tells the big man, this guy could be dangerous. This guy could hurt me. Maybe I better be a little careful how I speak to him, how I respect him. A man cannot live, is what I'm saying. A man can live having lost everything on a park bench in Central Park. In the dead of winter, eating at a rescue mission. But he cannot live with insults, disrespect, and intimidation from your bigger man because he thinks he can stomp on the little man. He can't permit that to happen or to exist. I've said it before, I say it again, verbal abuse doesn't stand. It's a cancer. It's an incipient malignancy that has to be cut out and ended at inception. Not allowed to live a life of its own. And there is no alibi or rationalization or argument you could put up against that conclusion. And I say everything, and I do mean everything, is premised on that. It begins with that. It begins with feeling secure, totally secure in owning yourself 100%, being your own man 100%, without a pot to hiss in, without two nickels to rub together. But he has to be very smart and fair and practical with all of that. He has to know when to cry uncle. He has to know when to leave the scene, get the hell out of there. He has to be able to say, this is not my dance. This is not my chance. This is not my time. I better leave under my own power, by my own decision, select myself out, reconsider, reassess myself, ask myself a lot of tough, hard questions, prosecute myself, do a Sherlock Holmes deductive analysis on myself, hone my tools, reconsider my self-mastery, reconsider the application of the tools and my ability to function with the tools in an effective way in a practical situation that's demanding, that's stressful. That's why in my analysis, I always leave the contradictions and stresses intact, because that's the real world out there. I keep the simulations and the models of my practice and my thinking real world, practical, concrete, worst case scenario. Show me, don't tell me. That's why I like the Trump. He's got a Trump. Trump just says, I'll do it. How are you going to do it? I'll do it. And that's the attitude that it takes. Short man, how are you going to say, short man, you short, you ugly, you small. How are you going to do it? And if you have the backup that I'm talking about, you own yourself because you're in the shape of your life, you can look back at that son of a bitch and look thunder in his eyes and glare at him and say, I'll do it. I'll do it. How? I'll do it. But you're small, you're short, you're diminutive, you're a dwarf. How are you going? I'll do it. The biggest lie that's ever been told is that if the short, small man grovels enough, if he begs enough, if he's humble enough, if he's meek enough, the woman will feel compassion for him and show him mercy. You damn fool. Why should she do it? Put yourself in the place of the woman. She has to be seen with an ugly dwarf like you. There's no way to get around it, son. There's no way to get around that reality. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can grab your bull by the horns. It's your bull. Nobody can carry your cross. It's your cross to carry. It's your responsibility to carry that cross. Period. And if you don't do it, there's not a universal judgment. You have to judge yourself, because make up your mind to it. Each has their own. None has the time. Everybody, without exception, follows the greed principle. What's in it for me? And you have to look at it. You have to come at it from that point of view. Therefore, you have to put your mind in the mind of your opposition and say, if I were they, what would I think of me? If I were this woman I'm talking to, would I want to be seen or talked to someone who looks like me and behaves like I do? And you have to be fair, practical, and realistic with that. Any questions?